Location near you. Biden allowed that to happen to our country, and his people that really ran the country. And the person that operated the auto pen, I think we ought to find out who that was, because I guess that was the real president. So when you ask me if we have the authority, did Biden have the authority to allow millions of people to come into our country? Many of these people hardened criminals at the top of the line who have caused tremendous damage in our country. You see them in New York City fighting with our police. I mean, literally having fist fights in the street with our police. These are tough, hard criminals. Many of them came out of jails, and not just South America, from all over the world. They came out from Africa, from the Congo. They came out from Asia, not just South America, but many from South America. These are hard, tough criminals, and we have to get them out. And a judge sitting behind a bench someplace got a nice appointment. You can't take that away from the people that are responsible. Now, in this case, Marco Rubio has a lot of big decisions to make, and he's a fantastic person, a great man. I think he'll be our best. I think he has a chance to be our best Secretary of State. He's been doing incredibly. He works so hard. He's gone to so many different countries already, and he's got the authority to get bad people out of our country. And you can't stop that with a judge sitting behind a bench that has no idea what goes on, who happens to be a radical left lunatic.
Do you think the judiciary
You guys are denying the New York Times report that Elon Musk was going to be shown a 20 to 30 page presentation about a theoretical war plan against China. Why not just show it to Elon?
Because I don't want to show it to anybody. You know, you're talking about a potential war with China. Now, I deal with these people all the time, and I'm dealing with Pete, I'm dealing with these gentlemen on numerous different airplane purchases, and I think they're all going to be great. But I don't want other people saying anybody seeing potential war with China. We don't want to have a potential war.
NATO members to raise their 3 different Nobel Peace Prize nominations for his peacemaking efforts. Again, all of this progress, all of these accomplishments have occurred in just 6 months. We are truly just getting started, and we look forward to working with all of you for the next 3.5 years. On another matter, over the past few days, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard has unveiled shocking new evidence that former President Barack Obama and top aides in the Obama administration conspired to subvert President Trump's 2016 election victory and undermine the democratic will of the American people. While publicly pretending to engage in a peaceful transfer of power, in private, former President Obama went to great and nefarious lengths to try to sow discord among the public and sabotage his successor, President Trump. The new evidence released by the Director of National Intelligence, who is here with me today, confirms that the Obama administration manufactured politicized intelligence, which was later used as a justification for baseless smears against President Trump in an effort to try to delegitimize his victory before he even took the oath of office. The truth is that President Trump never had anything to do with Russia, and the Russia collusion hoax was a massive fraud perpetuated on the American people from the very beginning. And the worst part of this is Obama knew that truth, and so did all of the other corrupt officials involved in this scam, including former CIA Director John Brennan, former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, former FBI Director James Comey, former Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, and many others. Director of National Intelligence Gabbard's report further confirms what we already knew. There was no collusion, no corruption, except on the part of Barack Obama and the weaponized intelligence agencies at the time. The Russia hoax was a blatant lie, all ginned up by Democrat political operatives that were signed off on by then President Obama and leaked to the news media to launch a years-long witch hunt against President Trump and his first administration. Allies of the president, including his own son, Donald Trump Jr., were disgustingly smeared as Russian assets, and some even had their lives destroyed because of this vicious lie. The president's first 2 years in office had this fake distraction hanging over it, and endless resources, time, and political capital were spent having to debunk these lies from the highest levels of our government. Now, nearly 10 years later, thanks to the declassification of documents by Director Gabbard, the truth has finally come to light. And this truth vindicates President Trump, his family, and his many allies and associates who were smeared with defamatory lies. President Trump was right from the beginning about all of this, and we are grateful that justice can be served. Now, we have even more damning evidence implicating those who tried to sabotage a duly elected president and did grave material harm to our republic. Thanks to additional important work done by CIA Director Ratcliffe, Committee Chairman Rick Crawford over the past few months, a newly declassified 2020 report prepared by the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, which DNI Director Gabbard has declassified, found that the intel community did not have any direct information that Russian President Vladimir Putin wanted to help elect President Trump in 2016, and in fact, Russia was actively preparing for a Hillary Clinton victory. But at the unusual direction of Barack Obama at the time, the intel community published implausible intelligence suggesting otherwise. Why? To sabotage the incoming president. This is truly one of the greatest political scandals in American history. And reporters at legacy outlets, some of which are sitting in this room today, like the New York Times and the Washington Post, were ridiculously awarded lip.
Meu nome é Jeffrey Musatelli. Sou um ex-policial militar com 16 anos de serviço ativo na Força Aérea dos Estados Unidos. Estou aqui hoje porque o povo americano tem não apenas o direito, mas também a responsabilidade o Borisov, que se parecia mais com um cometa clássico. Um astrônomo amador descobriu o primeiro cometa interestelar.
To understand what will occur next. What's next for urgent message to Pleiadian starseeds. I am Endori of the Pleiadian civilization, brought to you through my dear young friend, Angulad. We have reached a nexus in the flow of the timelines of your reality at which it becomes important for you to understand certain crucial matters. You need to understand why you, as Pleiadian starseeds, are here upon Earth, what your mission profile really is, and you need to understand why planet Earth and why now. You need then, also, to understand what will occur next. What's next for Earth, and what's next for you. You need this information so that you can make an informed decision about where you will go next, what your next experience of life will be. There is no more important decision before you than the one I am about to inform you of. So this is crucial information. I will require your patience and your attention as I lay this all out for you and remind you of all that you once knew before you entered into incarnation here upon Earth. Firstly, why Earth? You are a Pleiadian being. You arose spiritually amongst your soul family upon the Pleiades. That is your home. And you are doing sterling work in your journey towards your ultimate awakening and ascension back into the oneness of the monad to which we belong. You are one of our brightest and best. So why are you now on Earth? Why are you amongst others who are struggling so mightily with their issues and causing themselves, each other, and their planet so much harm? Why have you been born amongst them in this barbaric place of murder and mayhem? Why have you risked becoming afflicted with the illnesses of their psyches? Because yes, it is a risk. And some of our Pleiadian brethren have indeed become afflicted. Quite a few have adopted the ways of Earth and fallen in consciousness. So there is a real danger in coming here. You knew this, yet you came anyway. Why? I shall tell you. It will be a fairly long story, and right now I shall offer you the first part of that story, the situation report on planet Earth. The story of how Earth gets to be as it is now is long and complex, enough to fill all the books in all the libraries upon the Earth. And still that will be a cursory explanation. So I won't try to give you the whole story. Instead, I will sum it up as follows. there is such a thing as a true and authentic Earth human. Beings that arose upon Earth from the Earth, just as you arose originally in the Pleiades, true Earth souls inhabiting Earth bodies. For better or for worse, the Earth human has been tinkered with, toyed with, manipulated, used and abused, and then rescued and healed and used and abused all over again countless times since the beginning of the story of the planet. And the ones that have acted upon Earth humans in this fashion have been the other, more technologically advanced galactic civilizations. If you examine the religious myths and the ancient legends that still resound in the consciousness of the planet, you find an abundance of traces of this intervention. This mighty being with his chariot of fire that came down and claimed a people and said to them, "You are my people, and I will protect you. You must just do as I say, to the letter, and worship and obey me, and I will look after you." You know what I am talking about. Almost all of the religions of the world have such a being in them. Now please, you mustn't think your dear old Adamu an atheist. I have explained in detail in the Adamu Speak series that I believe in God. I have personal and direct knowledge of the divine, and it is my desire to share that knowledge with others too. But my friends, the eternal, everlasting, one true creator of all things is far too great a being to appear to one group on Earth, one tribe on one planet in one galaxy, and say, "I choose you and will help you to slay other tribes." Check with your heart. Surely you can see this to be true. But back to the narrative. What I wish you to understand is that this kind of intervention by space races did not happen once. It happened countless times. A number of them are still recorded in the myths and legends of which I spoke, but most of them predate all record of them. You have, after all, only a few thousand years of recorded history, sketchy as it is, and humanity has existed in one form or another for millions of years. There were, for example, dragon gods upon your planet hundreds of thousands of years ago. Too long ago for any actual record of them to survive, but the impact of having such blood-curdling, magnificent beings walking amongst you and flying your skies was such that it remains in your collective psyche. I could go on and on upon this subject. Truly, the deep history of planet Earth is massively complex. But that story is not why I am here today. I simply wish you to understand that Earth humanity has been through the aeons massively interfered with. So much so that they evolved without an identity. Earth humans do not know who or what they are. They have not found unity over any choices whatsoever. They cannot stand as one over anything. Now, you see, there are certain spiritual councils that order the universe. There is a council of wise and beautiful spiritual beings that order each planet, each solar system, each galaxy, and so on. And the Planetary Council for Planet Earth came to the decision a little while ago that Earth would cease to be interfered with until such time as the bearers of the light of will upon the planet, the humans, could come to unity on who and what they are, what they stand for, what they choose, what they believe in. They must decide, are they collectively service to other, service to self, or of unity consciousness? They must decide if their path is technological, religious, or spiritual. There are a variety of such choices, and they must make up their collective minds. And so the decision was made, and we, the Pleiadian civilization, were honored by the request that we should lead the imposition of a quarantine upon the planet until such time as humanity has made their decision. If you study your mythology, you will see a trace record of this. I am remembered in your mythology as a being called Atlas, and in your mythology, I lifted the dome of the stars from the earth in order to stop a feud between the stars. Yes, that is me. My real name is Atlas. Adamu is a title like grandfather or wise man, and I was personally involved in arranging the quarantine. The quarantine enforced by Atlas. We, Pleiadians, were asked to provide this service since we have, and I say this with a little pride but without conceit, the very best ships in the galaxy. No one could possibly enforce a quarantine better than we. Our light ships are unparalleled for speed and maneuverability, and are also virtually indestructible. But I shall tell you more about that in due course. The point is, we were asked to make sure that the other space races got off the planet and stayed off. As the founder members of a federation of galactic races that join together for mutual benefit, protection, and support, we lead a group of races in a mission to create a quiet space upon Earth until Earth had come to its decision point. There was one race that didn't like that at all. They are recorded in the most ancient of your writings as the Anunnaki. But actually that word is a kind of a syncretism, as the ancients used it to refer to all the space races that were active upon planet Earth. And there were many. Back then, often quite a few space races were active in any given civilization at any time. But for the sake of convention, we'll call these particular ones that are known amongst Pleiadians as the Red Star people by the name used in your ancient writings, the Anunnaki. And it was so that these Anunnaki actually rebelled against the will